Welcome to Facets Television, and today I'm here interviewing Dr. Ana Nogales at the Nogales Psychological Counseling Incorporated in Santa Ana, California. Welcome, Dr. Nogales. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
So, I'd really like to have you start off by telling us a little bit about how you got into dealing with psychology as a business.
Oh, psychology as a business. Well, I am in psychology from ever. Like, since childhood, I remember trying to help people and doing things that relate to what I'm doing today. So I think this is in my soul, my mission of life from always, has always been here. I can't say that this turned into a real business, but I have to say that in turning to helping others through the nonprofit organization Casa de la Familia, and it developed, things develop in life by itself. Once you know that you are in the road, once you know what you have to do in life, things start happening. And I didn't envision this as a business or as a nonprofit because there are two companies, right? I didn't envision them as such, but it developed into this.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your latest book?
My new book is Parents Who Cheat: How Children and Adult Children Are Affected by When a Parent is Unfaithful.
So the title says a lot. Tell me just a little bit about what they can find inside its cover.
Okay. Inside, you will find a lot of stories about adults already that they found out that mom, dad, or both of them have cheated, and the impact of infidelity in their own lives.
So what is your primary practice at Casa de Familia?
We work with victims of crime, which includes human trafficking, but also domestic violence, child abuse, sexual, physical abuse, neglect. We also work with victims of rape, with the family of those that has been murdered. So we really work with very, very difficult times in the lives of men.
In working with folks in Orange County, one of the biggest things that I hear an argument about is, oh, human sex trafficking or human trafficking doesn't happen here. We only see it on TV, in fact, about international. We really don't want to deal with the fact that in our own communities it's happening. So how frequent, and give me an example of a couple of types of human trafficking. I do want to deal with the sex trafficking issue, but there's also, being forced to be a housekeeper or other type of...
Well, the cases of human trafficking that we see here, in my office at least more often, are those of sexual slavery, or those of labor slavery, labor exploitation. Those are the most common. I think that the most terrible ones, at least horrific for me to see, are those of sexual slavery. It's really a crime against humanity. And here, where we see there are a lot of cases, believe me, there are a lot of cases. I cannot go into details, yes, because I need to protect identity. But for example, we have read very recently in the paper that they got this ring of women and men. There were, I think, 4 from Guatemala and 1 from Mexico. But it doesn't mean that this is happening in Guatemala and Mexico. It means that they were bringing those people here to the United States because the consumer is here in the United States. Actually, I think that the United States is the biggest consumer in the world because,
of child pornography, of sex trafficking, of, et cetera,
and we can afford it.
Right.
So you can see that a lot of American people, American citizens, going outside of the United States, going, for example, to places like Acapulco and Cancun for sex tourism, and they consume sex tourism with minors over there. And, I just came back from Mexico, from Tijuana, actually, this week. We have a binational meeting, both countries, and it's amazing. It's amazing the kind of things that they do. There are babies involved. Yeah. Babies that they don't feed, so they will suck better. And those are part of the sex tourism that Americans consume outside of the United States. So that is part of the United States problem.
Well, that's the reality I know that I'm looking to inform people about. How do we deal with that as a society? I mean, part of it is the denial, but how do you convince people this is really going on?
I think it's an educational process. I think that shows like this and many other ones have to be available to the public. Movies like Taken and others. I remember the one from HBO on human trafficking was a real eye-opener to me when I started to work with this. So I think we need a lot more of that, a lot more of media involved in these kind of issues. I think that media has in their hands a lot about doing social change, social education, and also a lot of prevention. So it's very important that media be there. But also the law enforcement, so that really the laws can be enforced on people that are doing these kind of things. I started to tell you about the case of the 4 Guatemalan and 1 Mexican operating here in the United States. These people, what they did is that they went to Guatemala and they will say, yes, you know, I have a job for you, why don't you come, bring let me meet your parents. Let me meet your parents so I will explain to your parents that, you know, this is real, that I have a restaurant and I do really need help, so why don't you come, and blah, blah. So, you know, this girl or a boy will go, Mom, Dad, you know, I was offered a job in the United States, you know, and then this trafficker goes and meets the parents and explain the beautiful picture about the life of this young person in the United States and how he's going to be able to go to school and then contribute to home. And of course, there's a lot of poverty in these countries.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, it's a possibility, a shiny star there. So these people came with these traffickers, and usually, let me tell you, they're women, because a lot of people have in their mind that the traffickers are men. Well, most of them, at least in the first stages, are women, okay? So you can trust them better. You can trust a woman, sure. So they will bring these people to the United States and then put them immediately into prostitution. And what they do is usually, this is not in all of the cases, they move them. So they can be 15 days in this city or 15 days in another city, move them continuously so they will not form a relationship with the clients, so they will be trapped. And if they want to escape, it's impossible to escape. Why? They will tell them, if you want to escape, I know where your parents live. I know where your little sister lives.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill them. And actually, in many cases, they go and they do call the family, the relatives, in Guatemala, in India, wherever it is, whatever the country is. And they do tell them, I'm going to kill you. So these people feel very threatened, very threatened. A lot of them commit suicide because they feel totally trapped. But most of them do not commit suicide because they are so drugged out. They give them so many drugs, they cannot even think clearly.